Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Game Over Ottawa. Maude here once again as the Sens have defeated the Boston Bruins 6-5 in a shootout. I can't believe what I just witnessed, but I know that I am so excited to hit the button. Because the Boston Bruins got absolutely sensed here tonight. This is probably the biggest sensing we've seen ever since the meme became a thing a couple seasons ago, ever since the birth of the sensing meme. Holy crap, the Sens actually tied the game with the goalie pulled for the first time all year. I don't know how long it's been since they managed to do it, but I know for a fact that they haven't done it all year until now. And to do it when down 2 goals, with the game-tying goal being in the final 10 seconds of the game, just what absolute scenes, just an amazing game that we got to watch here today. So I'm going to try to break it down as much as I possibly can. It's kind of ironic because the last game that I covered was against the Islanders, a 2-0 clean shutout win where I was a little bit stretching for things to talk about. But here today, there's a lot to talk about, so I might be a little bit overwhelmed. My heart is still racing after that overtime. It was just absolute insanity. So I might be a little bit scatterbrained. I might be a little short of breath, but I'm going to do my best to break down what we just saw as the Sens pick up a huge extra point, and they get the second point as well over the Bruins. So they don't get the regulation win to jump the Bruins in the standings, but they own the tiebreaker. So being tied with the Bruins in points, the Sens are now currently ahead for at least the time being, because Columbus, Montreal, Detroit are all still going to play tonight. Hopefully the Sens can get some help on the out-of-town scoreboard. But before we get into breaking down today's ridiculous game, just going to shift into hyperdrive and get ready to have some fun with your new source for all the biggest stories in hockey, bringing in a unique style of broadcasting and commentary with a Quebecois flavor. Hyperdrive Hockey combines top-tier hockey analysis, big stories, pop culture, and a damn fun atmosphere that will drive debate, make you think, and more. Join Max, Daphne, and Kevin every Tuesday and Friday now for your fill on the hockey world. Actually, I think we need to update this. I think it's Monday and Thursday now. They've changed it. But regardless, subscribe to the Game Over Network YouTube channel so that you can keep up to date with the new Hyperdrive Hockey releases. And you can also find the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Amazon, wherever you like to find your podcasts. So that's going to throw us into the first period here. We're already in the first period segment, so we're going to jump back to the beginning of the game. Zach Clark in the chat, shout out to you, saying that was legit the most entertaining hockey I've seen this year. Yeah, it was absolutely insane, and I'm just shocked that I'm actually able to come on here and be happy, because through the end of the second period and into the last 5 minutes of that third period, I was pissed. This game was about to ruin my day, especially an afternoon game. If you lose an evening game, it's whatever. You just go to bed and then you wake up the next morning, it's whatever. But if you lose an afternoon game, especially a big one like today, then it sort of just bugs me for the rest of the day, especially watching more hockey in the evening for the rest of the night. Then I'm just pissed that the Sens lost all day. But they somehow pulled it out. They somehow won. So yeah, that had to be one of the most entertaining games of the year, probably for any team. Any neutral fan watching that game, they definitely got more than their money's worth. But yeah, specifically for the Sens, their best hockey came in the first period today, where they were just absolutely dominant over the Bruins. And if it wasn't for Jeremy Swayman, easily could have been before the Bruins 2-2 goal, it easily could have been 3-1, 4-1 for the Sens, because they just had so many chances, and Swayman was just dialed in after getting beat a couple times early on. The 1-0 goal, Tim Stützle, just been absolutely electric lately after a bit of a dry spell in production, jumps on a turnover, starts the cycle, and it leads to an Adam Gaudette goal. And even though Stützle doesn't end up getting an assist there, wanted to give him credit for starting the play. And Adam Gaudette, another guy who went through a super long dry spell, obviously even more than Stützle, he's got 2 goals in the last, I think, 3 games now, and technically scored twice against the Islanders, but only one of them counted. So all of a sudden, Adam Gaudette is heating up again. And just on the topic of Adam Gaudette, he made a great play on one of the Sens goals, I think on Nick Jensen's goal in the third period, but we'll get to that later. Newbie Sports in the chat saying, get wrecked, Kastelik. There was a lot of animosity and physicality in this game, and you knew that Mark Kastelik was going to be at the center of it, but specifically, he was taking a lot of hits from the Sens, so the Sens showed no love to their former player in Mark Kastelik, which was fun to see. That's another thing about this game, as Zach was saying, that's one of the most entertaining games all year. It's not just the goals. There was so much physical play, so many scrums and some fights and so much animosity in this game. Both teams knew how big of a game it was in the standings, and it was just absolute cinema. I am the Martin Scorsese meme right now. Just absolute cinema was this game. Like, just scenes, absolute scenes. So yeah, after that 1-0 goal, Adam Gaudette also had a nice tip on net that Swayman saved. So Adam Gaudette buzzing around as usual in this past few games here. Chabot sets up Batherson, who misses the net. I really wanted to see more out of Batherson in this game, and I think, did he end up getting an assist? He ended up recording an assist in the third period, so that's good for him, but like, he's been real quiet lately. I'm still looking for more out of Drake Batherson, because Timmy had his cold spell, and he's back on the score sheet regularly. Tkachuk hasn't been getting points lately, but he's impacting the game regardless of whether or not he's scoring, and we definitely saw that here tonight. So Batherson being the other like top 3 point scorer on this team, I'm still looking for a little bit more from him. Shortly after that, Josh Norris hits the post on a 2-on-1. Incredibly frustrating moment there, but Josh Norris ended up getting the last laugh in the end in this game. And then we get an early 2-0 lead. Timmy's pass was blocked, so he does it himself and just little toe drag, top shelf snipe. It was a beautiful goal. I don't know what the hell the Bruins were doing on that play. There was 4 guys kind of chasing the puck on the one side of the ice, and they couldn't get it out of the zone, but and then it came right back to Stützle. So pretty scrambly defense by the Bruins there. And we get a deserved early 2-0 lead. Levi Marilainen shortly after that made an amazing save of the year candidate on a 2-on-1. That was not indicative of how the rest of his night went. We'll get into that later, but he did have some great moments tonight regardless of the 5 goals against. Norris takes a retaliation penalty, and the Bruins score on that to make it 2-1. All 4 of the Sens penalty killers got completely caught on the right-hand side of the ice, and when they played it back to the point to Pasternak and right to Zacha in front, that it's been frustrating because thank God they salvaged some points out of this game, because I was going to come on here and say they've been so good defensively at 5-on-5 lately, but then when they finally score some goals here today, then they screw up on defense. This one obviously not being 5-on-5 on the penalty kill, but just those little mistakes are what costed the Sens here tonight, and thank God they ended up redeeming themselves and getting the 2 points in this game in the end, because there was some brutal errors that resulted in Bruins goals. It was a little bit like beating yourself, sort of, where the Sens' errors were more so the reasons for the Bruins getting their goals, as opposed to the Bruins making great plays. But yeah, Levi had no chance on that 2-1 goal. They somehow took a penalty at the same time that they scored there. I think it was an unsportsmanlike penalty to one of the Bruins players immediately after scoring. And, the game wasn't too physical or chippy until this point. And I really wonder, I wish I could know what was said, because they got a penalty for someone saying something. And that's usually not, I feel like that's rare that gets called. So it must have been something pretty foul. And from then on, for the rest of the game, these two teams were just absolutely at each other's throats. So I really wish I could know what was said for that penalty there. But on that power play, the second power play unit gets the best chance, which is something that I say a lot for the Sens, and I hate that because I really want to see the first power play unit step up. They did get a goal later in the game, and I mean, 6-on-5 is a totally, it's kind of a power play, but It's the guys who would be on the first power play unit. Gaudette was absolutely robbed. He could have had a second goal. He was kind of in the exact same spot where he scored his goal at the side of the net there. Swayman came up with the desperation save this time. So Adam Gaudette could have had like 2 or 3 goals in that first period alone. So big shout out to him. He probably, I don't know if he'll end up being like one of the 3 stars of the game or anything because there was so many goals scored, but great stuff from him. Pinto was stopped on a breakaway. It was kind of almost a 2-on-0, but I think he didn't see Cousins just sort of like out of his vision to the side, which is unfortunate because if I think he passed it across to Nick Cousins, that was more than likely going to be a goal. I mean, Jeremy Swayman was really dialed in tonight, but that would have been a tough save for him to make. Shane Pinto, he had so many shots on goal tonight. Let me see if I can pull it up. 8 shots on goal, and he ends up getting an assist in the end, which is nice that he gets something considering 8 shots, and a lot of them were really good scoring chances. Pinto was unfortunate to not find the back of the net tonight. Swayman just had his number, and Pinto was really frustrated after that one, destroying his stick. So I do wonder if he didn't get enough on the shot because the stick was like starting to break or something, and that caused the frustration. So maybe I'll cut him a little bit of slack on that one, but damn, Pinto was absolutely buzzing tonight, just couldn't find the back of the net. So I feel a little bad for him. And then after that, we had the hit where Nick Jensen almost got injured. Thank God he didn't, because he ended up playing a huge part in the Sens' comeback here tonight. And then we get the 2-2 goal to end the first period, which was such a buzzkill because it was an amazing period from the Sens overall, apart from the first goal at that moment. But this second goal really pissed me off, and this is something that I haven't done in a long time, but I'm going to pull up some images here because this really shows how the little things and just little positioning can result in goals against when they easily could have been stopped. So I'm going to pull up a freeze frame here. Sorry, audio listeners, that you can't see, but this first freeze frame here, when the Bruins are coming through the neutral zone, the Sens have 3 guys back. I think it's Sanderson, Zub, and Greg. Whoever the puck carrier for the Bruins is, I don't know, but he's got Pasternak on his right side. And the way that the Sens have these 3 players back here, that looks like it's no trouble at all. It looks like this should be easy for them to handle, like there's no danger. But then, just within less than a second, I'm going to put up this second image, just within less than a second, both Sanderson and really Greg pivot towards the puck carrier. And then Pasternak is wide open. So this was so frustrating to me because it's just those little things, those small details where they slip up just a little bit, and then they left one of the greatest goal scorers in hockey, David Pasternak, wide open on the wing to just come in and snipe it. And it was an absolutely beautiful shot that he ripped past Merlainen. Not much Levi could do about that one, but I just wanted to show the visuals there of how slim the margins can be in the NHL from stopping a play defensively or just allowing a great chance. Because if either one of Sanderson or Ridley Gregg there, just not even like they have to be right on top of Pasternak, but if either one of them just kind of stays more towards the middle and just keeps skating back, you can easily cut off Pasternak's shooting lane once he gets into the zone. But they both pivoted towards the puck carrier, who Zub is already watching. I do have to wonder, I think what Sanderson was thinking here was, I think it's Lowride, the Bruins defenseman, behind the puck carrier. He's coming in on the wing, so I wonder if Sanderson is kind of pivoting to follow that guy coming in along the boards, and he expected really Greg to pick up Pasternak on the other side. They just got their signals crossed here, so I don't know who was supposed to take who, but that was a play, that was one of the most frustrating plays for me tonight, where it was just like, that should not have even been a scoring chance, but just the little things where the players just get their signals crossed a little bit, and then it ends up in the back of your net. I just thought that was a great example of how slim the margins of error are in the NHL. So that does it for the first period. It was an absolutely crazy period that already gave me like way more to talk about than either of the last solo shows that I did combined. So that was good at least, but we got a whole lot more to go through here for the rest of this show of recapping this win. But before we do that, just going to shout out that Game Over has a Patreon. If you're looking for ways to help an upstart media company employing over 30 young journalists and analysts across Canada, and if you have a few spare bucks kicking around, you can head to our Patreon page at patreon.com/thegameovernetwork. There you'll find multiple tiers featuring different rewards and goodies for helping us grow. There's extra access, exclusive looks behind the scenes, Discord benefits, merch discounts, opportunities to give us feedback, and you can join us for special shows live where you can interact with hosts as we launch more ways to improve your experience. If you're not able to spare a few dollars, we have a free tier available so you don't miss out. If you really want to help us, make sure to click like and subscribe on YouTube. Rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast app and share our work on your social media of choice. It's patreon.com/the Game Over Network. You can find the best way to support us over there. Yeah, I'm going to take a quick water break because I'm already going a mile a minute here. Hit that second period buzzer. Now the second period got off to a really bad start. Just a minute in, Morgan Geekie. This goal, I feel like I can't nitpick the defense as much because it was just a ridiculous no-look behind the back pass from Pasternak to start the play. At first he looked over his shoulder one way, he saw who was in front, and then he looks away, making it look like he's not going to make that pass. And then he passes it on the backhand the other way on his other shoulder side and just finds, finds Zacha in front. And then Zacha makes another no-look behind the back pass to Morgan Geekie. So it was a tough one. Another one where Levi had absolutely no chance, but that's one where I won't nitpick the Sens defense because that was just ridiculous passing where those 3 guys on the Bruins top line were totally just in sync. They were a hive mind on that play. It looked like a video game goal. It looked like when you're playing NHL EA Sports from the top-down view and you can see the whole ice. You can see where everyone is. It's just like your player's not looking at where he's passing, but you can see where everyone is. So you just go bang, bang, bang behind the back passes without looking. That was just an awesome goal from the Boston Bruins. You have to give them full credit on that one. And I'm sure there probably is a way to nitpick the Sens defense on that one, but I'm not going to do it because I'll try to be a little bit more positive here and just say that was a great play from the Boston Bruins. And they continued their great play in the second period. The whole first 5 minutes of that period, just an absolutely relentless forecheck. The Sens couldn't get it out of their zone. Bruins kept pushing. Wotherspoon then started a scrum after being injured. He stayed on the ice for a while, I think it was. Or maybe it was Lindholm, because I think numbers 28 and 29. But regardless, Wotherspoon decided to be a giant shit disturber today. This is a player that probably no one knows the name of. And to be honest, I don't even know that much about him either. A depth defenseman for the Bruins who's in the lineup because they're missing both Hampus Lindholm and Charlie McAvoy. And boy, for a depth defenseman, he sure had an impact tonight. I'm curious actually to check the time on ice and see how much he played. Actually, for a depth defenseman, he played 22 minutes. So that was the second most on the Bruins today, other than Nikita Zadorov. So pretty good look for him today, just being in the mix of everything. Not that he was amazing or anything in terms of his play, but just he was pissing off the Sens. He was getting under their skin, and it seemed like the Sens probably did something to get under his skin too, because it was just a lot of emotion. And the Sens somehow end up getting the power play after that, which is awesome. So thank you, Parker Wotherspoon, for giving us the power play there. Sanderson snipes it in from the point right off the face-off. Perfect screen by Tkachuk without making goalie interference, without any contact with Jeremy Swayman. He got as close as you possibly could to the goalie while screening the goalie without touching him. So that was beautifully done by Brady Tkachuk, even though he doesn't end up getting on the score sheet here tonight. He was a huge part of that goal. Somehow this goal is now credited to Josh Norris, and I'm going to try to watch the replay on NHL.com real quick here and see if I can spot the tip, because I totally did not see Josh Norris getting his stick on that in any of the replays. But I'm just gonna take a little look here as they're passing it around. Sanderson shoots it. Yeah, Norris is definitely in the lane. He's in between the 4 Bruins penalty killers, pretty open. So he definitely had a good chance to get his stick on that there. Must have deflected it up or something. Let me see if I can see the replay angle here from behind the net. Let's see that. Ooh, yeah, a subtle deflection for sure. Just right off the... You know what? He was moving his stick up and it kind of hit the stick as he was moving his stick away. So I'm not even sure how much of an intentional tip that was. Obviously, he's trying to tip the puck, but he was probably not trying to tip it down like that off the heel of the blade of his stick. So that worked out very well for the Sens. Josh Norris, he had no points in this game until the final 5 minutes of the game, when all of a sudden that goal was changed to him, and then he scored right at the end of the game. So he gets 2 goals on the night. Pretty good stuff from them. And it was nice that the first power play unit actually scored a goal, because as I mentioned earlier, the second power play unit was kind of getting the better chances tonight, and I feel like that's been happening a lot lately over the last couple months for the Sens. So 3-3 at that point. The Bruins, for some reason, had totally filled their diapers after that goal and were complaining like crazy to the referees. I don't know why they were doing that. I don't know if they wanted different calls to be made. But at that point in the game, the Bruins had really stepped up the physicality. They were just taking runs at the puck carrier anytime they could, and mostly clean hits, so I'm not complaining or anything like that. It was they were playing great physical hockey, and the Sens were responding. And when you play on the line like that, sometimes you're going to go over the line a little bit, especially with Wotherspoon starting that scrum. It was totally unnecessary, where everything had kind of settled down and they were just getting ready for the face-off, but then he decided to start some shit. So I don't know what the Bruins were mad about after that. I think it's a little bit silly to play that physical and then start complaining when you start scrums and then you get called for it. And I think actually, you know what, now that I think about it, I don't think it was Wotherspoon who ended up even getting the penalties there. I think it was Brad Marchand who came into the scrum, and I think he kind of like sucker punch or like headlocked one of our guys from behind. I think that's what the penalty ended up being on that play. So yeah, the Bruins were absolutely starting shit and then complaining when shit came back their way or when they got called for it, which I thought was a little bit silly, kind of childish behavior from their team and their coaches there. I think after that, the emotions were still high though. Ostapchuk and Mark Kastelik just absolutely throwing haymakers, just bombs away. No defense in that fight, no dodging, no trying to block the punches, just absolutely throwing, absolutely wailing away. Those are the types of fights that you like to see in the NHL, not the crappy like orchestrated fights off of the face-off where the two tough guys go out there and they're like, yeah, you want to fight? Yeah, we have to fight, because if we don't fight each other, we're going to get sent down to the minors. We have to earn our paycheck by fighting each other. This is the type of fights that I like to see in the NHL, where the emotions are just so high, the players are heated, there's so many body checks going back and forth between the two teams throughout the game. So that was just a spirited effort. That's the kind of stuff that you like to see, as opposed to those orchestrated fights. The Sens ended up on the penalty kill after that, and I wanted to look up the penalty because I don't know if it was instigator on Ostapchuk. I guess they gave him an extra roughing call. I don't know how you get a roughing call at the same time as a 5-minute for fighting, unless the rough was like before the fight. Maybe they were already calling a penalty before the fight broke out. That would have to be my guess. But it was a very good penalty kill. The Sens penalty kill did quite well tonight, other than that one error in the first period where they all got caught on the same side of the ice. Pretty good. I don't think that the Bruins had too many high danger shots on their power plays for the rest of the game. So pretty pleased with the Sens penalty kill overall tonight, outside of that one mistake. And it was at this moment in the second period where, during a commercial break, they welcomed back Joonas Korpisalo on the Jumbotron, and I think he got booed. I couldn't really hear it on TV, but people on Twitter were saying that, and I think that it is just ridiculous to give a welcome back to a goalie that only played 1 year for your team, absolutely sucked, and you had to dump his contract in the off season right away. Like, I'm sure he's a good guy, and it's like, oh yeah, welcome back our former players, but like that was just unnecessary. I think I feel like you can just quietly not mention Korpisalo, because it was just obviously going to be a poor reaction from the fans in the stands. So they kind of set him up there to get booed by the crowd, which I think that was a little unfortunate. I think personally, if you've only played 1 season for the team, you don't really need a welcome back video or like shot on the Jumbotron and you wave at the crowd, because especially if you only play 1 season for us and it's a bad season, like DeBrincat, like Korpisalo. So that was a weird decision. Not really sure why they did that. They did also welcome back Mark Kastelik, I think. And that's cool. He played 3 years for the team. We all liked him, so that was cool at least. Even though the players definitely showed showed no kind feelings for him on the ice tonight with a really spirited affair. After that, the Bruins take the lead. Heading into the third period, John Beecher just throws it on net from the point. This is the first goal that Levi Merlainen has allowed in his entire body of work this season. All the games this year, this is the first goal that Levi Merlainen has allowed where I say he should have had that one. Damn near every other goal that's gone in on him, it's like entirely the defense's fault, and it's like, oh, he had no chance, which just shows how well he's been playing. Even though tonight wasn't really his night, he didn't get the puck luck, and that one he'd like to have back. The fact that it took this long for me to say he should have had that one is absolutely amazing, especially because when Anton Forsberg is in net, we usually say he should have had that one at least twice a game. So even though it was a bad moment for Levi Merlainen, I'm still going to gas him up because he's been playing fantastic and he still got the win here tonight. No one beat him in the shootout. He was perfect in the shootout. That's getting ahead of myself a little bit, but we have to cut him some slack because he has been absolutely amazing despite the rough stat line here tonight. And thank God the team got him some goal support because he deserved it. All these previous games where where it was a 1-0 shootout, or not shootout, 1-0 overtime loss where they couldn't even get one goal for him against Washington, and the Islanders game where they were only able to get one goal past the Islanders goalie. Finally, Levi Merlainen gets a bit of goal support, and he needed it tonight because it wasn't his best game, but he's still been awesome for the Sens. And I know Linus Ullmark was skating either yesterday or today. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I wonder if he'll play tomorrow. If not, it's probably going to be Anton Forsberg because I think you don't give Levi the back-to-back again. The previous time when they did it, he was coming off of a shutout, so it was like a no-brainer. But he was a little shaky today. So I think probably Anton Forsberg tomorrow, but fingers crossed, maybe Linus Ullmark. Who knows? The Sens almost tied it up before the end of the second period. The puck went off of Batherson's skate and then just trickled to the post and didn't go in. That was when it felt like we really were not just going to have any luck for the rest of the game. That one was just felt like we're not going to beat Swayman again. Bad vibes to end the second period. I was feeling pretty pissed off, but we will get into the third period soon here where suddenly, not suddenly because it took a while to get going again for the Sens, but things turned around. But before I get into the third period analysis, if you're enjoying the show so far, you probably want more of this, right? Well, make sure you hit the like button on this video, click subscribe on our channel, and make sure you check the notification bell so you're alerted when we go live. If you're listening to the podcast after the fact, please give us a 5-star rating or even a positive review. If you really like us, make sure to follow us on your favorite social media platforms. You can find the Game Over Network on Blue Sky at thegameovernetwork.com. That's the handle. The full URL is the handle. On TikTok and Twitter, we are at Game Over NHL. On Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn, it is at Game Over Network. And then you can also find all of the Game Over Ottawa hosts' social medias in the description of every episode. So if you want to follow the general Game Over stuff, we've got all those accounts there. And if you want to follow specifically Game Over Ottawa's ongoings and the hosts, you can find that in the description below. I'm not going to read them all out because it's a lot of them. You can find us at thegameovernetwork.com as well, where you can sign up for our upcoming newsletter to keep up with all the fun things that we're doing here. Third period, after I chug some water. Goddamn. All right, let me get these third period notes here. It started off rough in the third period as Brady absolutely snapped on Wotherspoon. He was in the middle of it again, this Wotherspoon guy. Brady ends up taking the extra penalty there. It's not a moment where I'm annoyed that Brady got in a fight or a scrum, because sometimes when the team is losing, he does that and everyone's like, oh, well, we don't want our best player in the penalty box. In this game, in a 1-goal game, that's been so heated, I didn't mind it as much of him going at Wotherspoon, but he just went over the line a little bit too much, where it was like just too many shots at Wotherspoon. Like, if it was more even between the two of them, then it would be offsetting penalties, but Brady was really just started wailing on him at the end of that. So it was a deserved penalty for Brady to be called on, and it was, I can't, it's not a good time to take a penalty, but in such a spirited game, in such a heated game, I'm not too mad at him for that. And luckily, the Sens penalty kill was good again. I don't think the Bruins had any really great chances on it. The best chance actually came to the Sens as Sanderson was robbed by Swayman on a shorthanded scoring chance. It was a great play by Giroux to delay because he had someone else driving the net. He delayed and didn't try to force the pass to that guy and just waited to see Sanderson jumping up into play. It was a great setup from Giroux and absolute robbery from Jeremy Swayman. And once again, that felt like another moment where it's going to be like, okay, Swayman is locked in. We're not going to beat him for the rest of the night. And I was really frustrated at this point. Sens get a power play after that, and the second power play unit had the best scoring chance again. So for the third time tonight, I'm saying that, which is not great, although the first unit did score a power play goal today. So I'll cut them a little bit of slack. Later after that, Josh Norris saved a goal as it squeaked behind Levi Merilainen, and that's pretty funny because he ends up getting 2 goals on the night. He gets the game-tying goal, but before all of that happened, he saved a goal too. So the defensive play from Josh Norris, he kind of ended up behind Merilainen for whatever reason, and he was able to just tuck it under Merilainen after it squeaked through his legs. So if Norris wasn't in that position, didn't make that play, it would have been 5-3 for the Bruins right there. Unfortunately, a few minutes later, it was 5-3 for the Bruins as the Sens kill off another penalty. And it was a good penalty kill again. Didn't allow too many chances, but they can't clear the puck at the end of it. They get hemmed in 5-on-5 after their guy comes out of the penalty box. They had like 3 or 4 chances to clear it. So that was a really ugly goal there where the Bruins were just relentless on the forecheck. The Sens kept fumbling it on the clearing attempts. And at that point, it felt like it was over. It felt like we had nothing left in the tank. Felt like Swayman was just too good and we wouldn't be able to beat him 2 more times, in the last 7 minutes of the game at that point. The 5-3 goal, it was at 11:23. So you had 8.5 minutes left there to try to come up with 2 goals. And it was looking pretty dire until Nick Jensen found the back of the net with just over 3 minutes remaining. And this is the one where I wanted to shout out Adam Gaudette with a great steal from behind the net. He doesn't end up getting an assist here because a couple guys touched the puck before that to set up Nick Jensen. I think it was a shot by Shane Pinto because he had so many damn shots in this game. It was another one where you're like, Pinto, you have to score. But then they end up getting it back to Nick Jensen, who beats Swayman short side. Swayman unable to make the save, coming across the crease. That was very well done for a 6-on-5 goal because the forecheck, when you have that extra man, you have to have 2 guys on the puck at all times. And that's what they did for Adam Gaudette to steal the puck there. It was him and another Sens player in behind the net that were able to turn it over, resulting in a goal. So that's exactly what you want to see, 6-on-5. And this is where the game really gets crazy because with just over 3 minutes left, the Sens have to pull the goalie again to try to get 2 empty net goals. 2 goals with the goalie pulled, which they have not done in a long time. They haven't even tied the game when down 1 goal with the goalie pulled all season whatsoever. So I was not expecting this. They did the unexpected tonight, and I can't believe it. Huge shout out to Jake Sanderson, as Zach mentioned in the chat earlier. Sanderson's shot blocks in the last shift saved the game at least twice. Jake Sanderson was all over the ice tonight. I gotta check how many shots he finished with too, because similar to Shane Pinto, Jake Sanderson had a crap ton of shots on goal. The final stat line for Jake Sanderson, it's kind of funny. He ends up being a -3, which looks terrible, but crucial power play assist, 7 shots on goal, and 6 blocked shots from Jake Sanderson tonight. 2 of them coming with the empty net, where that could have completely ended the game. And I think one of them was like a try from really far into the Bruins zone, and he was able to block it kind of in the neutral zone. He had some time to see it coming, but the second one, I think the Bruins had come out like 3-on-1, 3-on-2 sort of into the neutral zone, and it looked like, it's over here. But Sanderson was able to push up, take the risky play, and he guessed correctly that the guy who had the puck was just going to shoot for the empty net instead of trying to pass it over to one of his teammates. Sanderson made the risky and crucial play to step up and assume that guy was going to shoot for the empty net and block it. And I can't believe that we ended up actually tying the game after that. This is where my notes for the game are just like finished, because I'm not writing any notes in overtime. I'm not writing any notes when we're trying to tie the game with under 2 minutes left. Josh Norris ends up getting the game tying goal with 12 seconds left, and I'm gonna watch it one more time. Unfortunately, I can't pull it up on the stream here, but I just got to see this beautiful goal one more time. The patience by Claude Giroux sets up Chabot. He fires it, goes wide. Giroux gets it back on the boards. Patience again, waiting to find the right pass. Instead of going back to Chabot, he finds Josh Norris with just a little bit of space in between Charlie Coyle and Elias Lindholm. They just gave him a little bit too much space. Coyle pivoted the wrong way. You know what? Giroux kind of faked like he was going to pass to Chabot. Coyle pivoted his stick away from the lane where Josh Norris is, and that left Josh Norris wide open for the one-timer. Giroux passed it at the perfect moment right as he got Charlie Coyle to turn his stick away. So that was brilliantly done by Claude Giroux. That is the type of play that you expect out of like a 1,000+ game veteran, and the Sens are just so lucky to have this guy. He sets up Norris, and Norris absolutely rifles it through Swayman. I can't believe it. That's got to be like the best moment of the season so far, because the Sens actually came back in a game for once, and I can't believe it. They actually come back and tie the game with the goalie pulled down to, and in such a crucial divisional matchup too. Holy crap. Now, in terms of the overtime, I'm not going to analyze it too much because, damn, it was sloppy. There was so many chances for the Bruins to win the game, and I thought they did. I think it was Zacha who got in on goal, hit the crossbar, and it went right down. So it felt like it was going to end multiple times in the Bruins' favor in that overtime. The Sens had a couple of chances, especially one right in the last 15 seconds, I think, but good job for Levi Merlainen sticking it out in overtime there. Had to make a few saves, even though he had a tough night, and he came up so big in the shootout as Charlie Coyle, David Pastrnak, and Pavel Zacha could not beat him. He stops all three Bruin shooters in the shootout. Tim Stützle scored a nice goal to beat Jeremy Swayman, and we get the win. We get the 2 points for the Ottawa Senators in the most unlikely fashion. I still can't believe it as I'm sitting here talking about it, as I'm sitting here recapping it. I still can't believe what the hell we just witnessed. That would have been an amazing game to be at in the crowd, especially when you think it's all over in those last 5 minutes there before Jensen scores, and then you start to believe just a little bit. You're like, but this is the thing, is that the Sens often, when they're down 2, they'll score 1 goal with the goalie pulled, and then they don't tie it. They're not able to get a second one because it's hard to score twice with the goalie pulled in the same game. So they actually managed to pull it off. It felt like a miracle. Just before Jensen scored, I was watching the game with my dad, and I said to him, I don't think we're getting a miracle tonight. It looked like the Sens were cooked at that point, but somehow they end up getting the winner. I can't believe it. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to go from here for the rest of the show, but probably going to take a look at the wildcard standings and see how things shake out at the moment before the rest of the Eastern Conference games are played tonight. But before we do that, going to throw up the QR code for Game Over's merch and get the slideshow in there too. What better way to support something you love than by repping it on yourself? Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique lines. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, if you want to make a statement with our established design, if you want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our live and die by the goalie design, or if you just need another coffee and a toque to keep you warm throughout the winter, we have you covered. Designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg, you can use the QR code on stream now and take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. Ooh, I'm behind the slideshow. I'm slipping. I gotta be over here. I'm gonna keep it running for a little bit, but I will hit the buzzer for the 4th period. If anyone has any more thoughts in chat, be sure to post those right now. I'll take a look at chat before we wrap up here. Obviously, I was already reading some chat comments since it is hard to go without doing that in solo shows. But I'm going to pull up the wildcard standings here because I got to see how it shakes out. So now the Sens are back up. We have finally passed the Boston Bruins. The absolutely fraudulent Boston Bruins have finally fallen out of a playoff spot. They were in a playoff spot for so long with a negative goal differential this season that I'm just glad to see them actually slip down for once. Finally, the Sens have caught up to them, and still with 2 games in hand on the Bruins. One of those games in hand will be played tomorrow against the Devils, but I was looking at the upcoming schedule for both teams, and they both have 6 games remaining in January, so it will kind of burn a game in hand against the Devils, but we'll get it back by the end of January. At like February 1st, I think the Sens will still have 2 games in hand over the Bruins at that point. And interestingly enough, there's going to be a rematch between these 2 teams next Thursday, which I will be back to cover that game as well. That's going to be another absolute banger. And I think the Bruins are actually on the second half of a back-to-back heading into that game, which is where the Sens gained that game in hand back. So that's going to be absolutely huge. They get the extra point over the Bruins to tie them, get ahead of them with the tiebreaker, and another chance next week to separate themselves even further. A couple of games against the Devils and Rangers before that rematch with the Bruins. Hopefully the Sens can pick up some points in that and stay ahead of the Bruins before that rematch. And you know what? We're only 1 point behind the Tampa Bay Lightning, but of course, games in hand, again, it goes the other way. Tampa has played 2 less games. They will play tonight, so it'll end up being 1 game in hand at the end of the night. Who are they playing? Tampa versus Detroit. Okay. Fuck. So that's bad. Okay. What do you think? I don't know. If anyone's still in chat, let me know if you want Tampa or Detroit to win tonight in that matchup. I just hope it's not a 3-point game. I don't want Detroit to catch up to us. I need them to stop. They've been winning too many games. Same with Montreal. So I don't want to see Detroit breathing down our necks. But also, if Detroit does beat Tampa, that helps out the Sens too, because then the Sens are still within striking distance of the 3rd spot in the Atlantic, which would be crazy. That would be ridiculous to actually be able to catch up there. And I think the Sens have a couple of games against Tampa Bay coming up early in February, so those could end up being just as big as these games against the Bruins too. So that's an interesting matchup to watch for tonight. Columbus is currently tied with the Sens in points and in regulation wins. They're tied for that tiebreaker too, but the Sens are ranked higher at the moment. Columbus in action against the Rangers tonight, so if the Rangers could ever do us a favor, that would be nice today. But at least Columbus is not in the division. We really need, which I hate to say, we really need a Toronto Maple Leafs win tonight. If you're listening to the show after the fact, all these games will already be done, so you'll know how it shakes out. But hopefully the Habs can just have a stinker for once. Hopefully the Leafs can put them in their place, because holy crap, I do not want the Montreal Canadiens to be so close to the Sens in a wildcard race. That would be brutal if they ended up passing us. So that's another huge one to watch. Flyers picked up a win today too. They are 2 points behind the Sens, but the Sens have 2 games in hand, so that's looking pretty good. Overall, the Sens are in a fantastic position, and considering how tough the schedule has been in January, with lots of going on the road and home, just back and forth, and a few back-to-backs. We'll see how they do on the next back-to-back here against the Devils tomorrow. Considering how the schedule has been, I think it's a pretty good January for the Sens overall. It started off rough. That Buffalo game was brutal. The St. Louis game was brutal, but wow, have they turned it around, and just they managed to pull off a miracle tonight and make us all believe once again when it looked like they were absolutely cooked, and they pulled it off here tonight. So I'm just really happy. I am going to be happy for the rest of the night. As I said, on an afternoon game, if you lose a stinker on an afternoon game, then I'm kind of pissed off for the rest of the night. But tonight, I'm so happy after that ridiculous win over the Boston Bruins. Newbie Sports in the chat says, do we believe? I think I believe. I think I have to say that I believe after that game. It's they're making us believe. They're giving us hope. So how can you not believe at this point? I think the Sens are so up and down. They are such a roller coaster that they might end up losing a few in a row after this, and I wouldn't be too surprised. I can't say for sure that it's like, oh yeah, we're definitely making the playoffs. We're definitely making the playoffs, but we're in the mix, and that's what I wanted heading into this season. I've been saying that as long as the Sens are within a couple of points for the playoff spot, the last playoff spot at the end of the season, that I would be happy with that. So They're right in the mix, and we're getting entertaining, high-stakes hockey that actually matters in January, and it'll head into February with the games still mattering a whole ton and being really important. So that's the final message here for me tonight, is that I'm just so happy that we're watching and talking about big games for the Sens. That's going to do it for tonight. I think I'm going to wrap it up there and go catch my breath after yapping for 45 minutes. Thank you everyone so much for watching or listening. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to Game Over Ottawa if you are not already. Have a good night, everyone.